And we're back with episode 28, 2.0. I'm Bob Conley Jr. And with me, as always, is Austin Skinner.
Hello, hello, hello.
Now, you may be wondering, why did I say 2.0? Austin, maybe you want to tell the story of why it's 2.0.
Okay, I guess we're getting into it. Are you guys ready to hear this? You think they're ready, Bob?
I think they're more than ready.
Okay. Well, basically, what had happened was last episode recording session, we did, of course, our typical 2 in a row. First one sounded good. I know it got frozen up maybe once or twice. And unfortunately, since we are now doing this over the internet, that's going to happen every once in a while. So
exactly. So if you hear us go, oh, hey, you froze up for a second, it's because it's legitimately what happened.
Right. Yes. So, with that in mind, episode 1 that we recorded of the 2 last time was fine. All set there. Then we, as normally, recorded. Everything went pretty smoothly for the second episode.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we do this is now I have the videos, linked to my YouTube channel. And then once they're kind of finished uploading, I send them to Bob so he can rip the audio from them and work his magic, let's say.
Which is literally just copy and pasting it into a different program and then putting it through Audacity and then just uploading it. It's not really magic. It's just common sense.
Well, thanks for ruining the mistake.
Yeah, my job is pretty simple. Yours is probably the harder part of it. So because I couldn't even figure out how to link up my YouTube and like Google Hangout or whatever. So
well, regardless. So I went to send them the episodes. First one sent fine. It was about an hour and a half or something normal. And our second one said 1:30, like 1 minute, 30 seconds. So I figured out it must not be done uploading. I'll just send it to him in the next day or so. So a day or two went by and I went back on and it still said 1 minute, 30 seconds. I click on the video and it's literally, there's maybe 7 seconds of audio throughout the video, and it's just fast forwarding. There's no audio. It's just me and Bob in 2 times speed with little blips of sound here and there, and that's the whole 1 minute and 30 second video.
Maybe we should have just stuck to that
and just uploaded that
and put it up there. Like the episode would have been like, whoa.
Yeah,
it was it. Like, that's the audio.
Needless to say, me and Bob were like, oh fuck. Because that episode, that version of it, so 1.0 was about a 2-hour episode.
Yeah, roughly, because at the end of this, we have a whole bunch of like reader feed, or not. I keep on saying reader. I even said it in the 1.0 listener feedback.
Yeah,
stuff like that. So that I'll read again. But you had sent them to me when I was with a buddy of mine watching, I think it was the 5th or 6th Harry Potter, which he's got me into now. And now I'm a Harry Potter fanatic. And I knew I couldn't trust Snape from the beginning. And now he's just breaking my heart more and more. But you sent me the first one and I was like, cool. All right. And then like you mentioned the 1:30, you even told me like, oh, there's might be a problem. And immediately I was like, I fucking deleted all my notes. After every episode, I go through and I delete them because I don't like the clutter of it or whatever. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, dude, like you might just have to take the lead on this one and then I'll just chime in with whatever, or I'll just rewatch it. And the more I was thinking about it, the more I was like, I might as well just fucking rewatch the damn thing. It's only 45 minutes. I'll just rewatch it. But then I remembered I don't close out my documents for like days on end.
Which, first of all, that blows my mind because unlike Bob here, ladies and gentlemen, I have literally every note sheet since we started this podcast. And currently I'm at 128 pages. So I kind of laughed at Bob a little bit because he always gives me a damn hard time. But hey, I was the one here sitting with notes. Lo and behold, he was able to pull another hat trick, just like classic Bob, and get his notes back. But yes.
Yeah, so I don't close my documents, and I was just on the whim of it. And I didn't even tell Austin until I tried it. I came home. Luckily, the document was still open, and I looked up to my ceiling. I was like, if this fucking works, I swear to God. So I hit like undo 4 or 5 times, and bam, popped right up. And I immediately texted Austin. He was like, "Oh, what the fuck, man? That's awesome."
Because how the fuck did you get that lucky?
I don't know, man. I literally will keep my documents open for days on end because, you know, writing for my blog or whatever, I have, you know, different formats, different topics, whatever. So I keep like, you know, wrestling columns open, wrestling reviews, whatever.
Right.
So I'll just keep them open, book reviews. And I just so it happened to have kept my podcast notes open because I think we had done it a day or so. Well, I think it was a Saturday night that you sent it to me. So it was like 2 days ago. So
yeah,
luckily it was fucking there and we dodged a bullet.
Right. So with that said, now we're kind of thrown off schedule a little bit. So right now we're recording on a Thursday, which is our normal day to record. However, we're only going to be doing this one just to kind of catch ourselves back up. And then this Sunday coming up, we will be recording the 2 episodes we should have been doing today. So it kind of threw us around a little bit, but you'll never know that because we're the utmost professionals. Speaking of also that, speaking of professionalism, I am no longer sitting in my closet.
Yes.
And from what Bob tells me, this is a significant difference in the audio. I don't sound like I'm underwater anymore.
Yeah.
So we're moving up in the world here, folks. One step at a time.
Now it's going to sound like rainbows and butterflies in your ears instead of someone drowning.
Right.
Not that you sounded bad. You know, I think everybody could understand what you're saying. But, you know, a crisper sound, whatever.
Right.
Just works out better.
Right.
So we are redoing the Raw episode that would be July 5th, 1993. It was apparently so good that the gods have decided that we must do it again. And it's a pretty monumental one because there's a pretty big situation going on. Before we get into that, though, as per usual, you can find us on Facebook at IcoPod, and you can send us feedback, as a few people have done, to IcoPodcast@gmail.com, and then we will eventually get it read on the air. So if it's dating back to the first episode of Raw and you want to talk about it, we could be in the year 95 or the year 97. And if you want to talk about something in 93, bring it along.
Let's do it.
I'm sure we're both going to fucking remember what the hell we were talking about. Although I think my opinion changes almost daily. So who knows? One day I hate Doink, one day I like him. I don't know.
And you know what, too? Just kind of going back and even listening to some of the older episodes, we contradict ourselves like almost every episode. So we're fans. You know what I mean? You're not.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're not. We don't claim to be in the know by any means. So of course, you know, it's all biased. It's all kind of our opinion, and opinion changes as you go through. So.
Well, I mean, like at the beginning, I was kind of liking Crush. Now I don't really like him that much. I would even say my level of excitement for Tatanka is kind of teetering.
Oh, about time.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
What's wrong? The scalp jokes weren't enough for you?
See, that's the one. That's the one thing I don't know if I like that. I don't know. Plus, okay. Regardless, let's get right into some observer notes.
Let's do it.
Get into the routine here. The June 28th edition of Raw, which I believe was the Razor Ramon 1-2-3 Kid rematch. Is that correct?
You're asking me?
I think that was what it was, right?
Dude, I have no fucking idea.
I'll assume it was.
But yes, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it got a 2.9 rating. So I think that was an increase compared to recent weeks. Maybe even borderline disappointment. It's been a pretty big feud going on. So they might have been hoping maybe for a 3 there. Bret Hart has done several jobs for WWF World Champion Yokozuna on the house shows. Probably just an attempt there to get Yokozuna some momentum as we head into SummerSlam.
Yeah, if they can. Maybe just to kind of recoup some of the damage that they've dealt on him.
Well, yeah, and it's probably going to be a match that is ticket-wise the most profitable direction going. Your favorite, Kamala, missed several house shows due to a family tragedy and was replaced by Tonga Kid.
Yeah, unfortunately, I actually have deeper notes on this. He had to put his legs to rest, unfortunately.
You see, he did that in 1.0, and I didn't think he was going to double down on it.
Oh, you are damn right. Because you know what?
Yeah.
I used Kamala. Okay. The only reason I like Kamala on my TV screen is because you know who's usually shortly behind. Fucking Kimchi.
I was gonna say Slick.
No.
Kimchi and him have been feuding now for like ever.
Good.
Since like the beginning.
Keep Kimchi on TV. Hashtag.
Okay, so I lied. The 628 episode was not Ramon Kid. That was Shawn Michaels and Kamala.
Oh, then that makes sense. Yeah.
Or 2.9.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, see, in 1.0, I probably knew that. And then 2.0, I forgot.
Stop giving our secrets away.
All right. Okay. I'm sorry. And then the last bit of news here is the Body Slam Intrepid earned the company about 20 grand or about 1,500 paying fans.
Yeah, and you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, those over the like aerial helicopter shots of all the crowd on the ship, it looks a lot more than 1,500 people.
That's what I was thinking.
So that's kind of surprising to me. I'm surprised they didn't make more on that deal, and I wonder if they were like expecting to make more on that deal, because 20 grand realistically doesn't sound like a whole lot, especially to put on that live event. Probably on that ship itself was a lot more than that, I'm sure.
Well, like we talked about before, I mean, it wasn't even a house show. So I don't know. Like there wasn't 6 or 7 matches.
Yeah, it was literally just like a public exercise. There's no matches. So it's like.
So I wonder, how long was it? Do we know? Do you know how long the whole segment was?
I would say maybe 2 hours.
If we're guessing. So
Yeah.
2 hours, 20 grand. Then you got to consider the talent.
Yeah, but even
work that you got preparing.
Right, but even still, I mean, they're lucky probably if they even broke even on that deal.
And, you know, it might be an example of we'll take the loss for the angle, you know?
Yeah, probably.
An investment into that. So,
Mm-hmm.
But there was an actual house show that took place on June 30th in New Mexico at the Pan American Center. And at this point, I'll read down the card and we'll be like, hey, we'll check it out, or, you know, we wouldn't, whichever. Now, the last couple of weeks, they kind of been similar cards, but we'll power through it anyway. So 1-2-3 Kid took on Terry Taylor. Smoking Guns met the Head Shrinkers. Papa Shango battled Louis Spicoli. The Undertaker met Lex Luger in singles action. Tatanka battled Bam Bam Bigelow. 1-2-3 Kid, who was a substitute for Kamala, thus pulling double duty, squared off against Razor Ramon, and in the main event, WWF Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels defended against Mr. Perfect.
I would have went.
I think it was a stronger show compared to last week's.
Yeah, even some of the more recent house shows, like I wish even some of the most recent Raws, those matches are, you know, in comparison, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty kind of a strong looking card. I mean, Kid Taylor, although I don't care about Taylor, but it's probably decent. Guns Head Shrinkers, I think, would be really good.
Yeah, right.
Taker Luger is a unique match we haven't seen yet. Kid Ramon and Perfect Michaels were kind of major angles, I guess, at this point. So,
does it say how long Kid Ramon or Sean and Perfect went? Or
no, there's no times available for that.
I wonder how long they would have given them. 20 minutes, maybe? You think that's too much?
I'd say 15 to 20. I think it might have been last week's episode that they, or no, it was the house show that I read about from Meltzer, like minutes or something like that. But the first 10 was like boring, and the final 6 was good. So they probably went between 15 to 20.
Right. Yeah, I would have went.
Yeah, that's a show that they probably would have suckered me in with. So.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's go to some syndication news. It's only 2 things here before we get into a monumental Raw that shows our true independence. Men on a Mission made their debut on the July 4th edition of Wrestling Challenge. They M-O-M, which would be Mabel, Mo, and Oscar. We'll get into that in a couple of weeks here on IcoPod when they make their Raw debut. And then Lex Luger competed on the July 3rd edition of Superstars. And I just have it here to note it. He was still the narcissist. I think that's important to note that as we continue on here.
Well, we really haven't seen too much of him on Raw lately, so.
Oh, we have not. But when I looked it up, because I had a feeling that he was on the syndication.
Right.
Because a pretty big shift occurs in the fan's eye 24 hours later.
Right.
So to have him be presented on television in one manner and then 24 hours later drastically change it, that's a bit shocking. With that said, we will now move in to our experience with Raw. From just so good, we did it twice. I'm losing my voice just in excitement about it. The July 5th edition of Monday Night Raw, which was live from the Manhattan Center in Manhattan, New York. And we start off with an aerial shot of the USS Intrepid from yesterday morning. And the footage shows various athletes trying to slam WWF World Champion Yokozuna, and they all failed.
Right.
And Rick Steiner, being the genius that he is, decided, hey, I'm not going to just try and slam you. I'm going to hit a few clotheslines, make you get a little winded, hurt you a little bit, and then hell, I'm going to try for an overkill.
Right.
What'd you think of this as an opening? And what'd you think about what Rick Steiner thought would be a smart idea?
I liked the opening, and sorry if we're getting a little bit of feedback there on the fan side here listening, because it sounded like you were cutting a little bit in and out there, Bob.
No, I think that's literally my voice.
Oh, okay. Well,
like it was literally like my throat was closing, and then I had to go like that, and then I'm okay. So thank you for calling me out on that.
All right.
Thanks for calling me out. I had peanut butter like 20 minutes before I came on here, so I'm probably suffocating myself.
Oh, that was a horrible decision.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm broke, man. I'm poor.
Should have just ate like Elmer's glue. Yeah. Should have just ate like Elmer's glue.
Well, that's weird. I'm going to pretend it's fluff.
Oh boy. Now, speaking of fluff, there was no fluff with this kind of opening here. They gave us shots of, like Bob said, several different athletes kind of trying their hand at slamming the 500-pounder, the 550-pounder. Several guys from football, just kind of general. We even had like hockey players and just kind of general sports trying to slam Yoko with no success. Savage was the host here, and he's standing in the ring in like a full American flag outfit. So it's like the red, white, and blue stripes and stars, full get up. But yeah,
the outfit he's wearing on Raw too.
Yeah,
at the commentary table, so he hasn't changed his outfit in two days.
Yeah, he just slapped right in it. I don't care, brother. Yeah. So other than that, I don't know. Like, all right, so let me get my bearings here. So we get like a really brief kind of couple of shots. We get right back into the Manhattan Center. The whole crowd has little American flags waving, obviously handed out. A little bit cheesy, I thought. But then they cut back to a terrible rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. Easy for me to say. It was so laughable to the point that my girlfriend walked in the room when I was watching this, and she was like, "Who the hell is singing that?" Because it was very, very bad.
Is it as bad as Aaron Neville?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, well you'll figure it out in about 4 or 5 weeks. So just a heads up. Anybody who's listening to this will be like, "Oh wow, he's right." It's pretty bad.
Perfect. So yes, it was not good. But again, we see Lee Rusan of the Giants, Bob Backlund, Peter Taglianetti of the Penguins. I probably butchered his name. Scott Burrell of the Charlotte Hornets. Scott Steiner, even, who I was kind of hoping would slam Yoko, but was also unsuccessful. And at that point, so we've seen the Steiners, we've seen some just general athletes, not too many WWF guys yet. Yoko takes a break with Mr. Fuji to eat a few grains of rice, like to beef him up a little bit more, which I thought that was hilarious. Like live right now, Yokozuna's beefing up his weight by a quarter pound. So it's even harder.
The thing is, it's not even a small bowl though.
Oh no, it's like
they made like a freaking 5-pound bag of it.
I was gonna say, wow.
And he's in there with chopsticks eating it.
It's almost like a salad bowl, like a large salad bowl.
Like kind of visualize like what a fruit punch bowl would look like.
Oh yeah,
with rice in it.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good comparison. So yeah, we get that kind of right in the middle. And if I'm watching this in the live crowd, I'm thinking, what in the fuck is going on here? I would be probably kind of disappointed thus far, I would say, because really we haven't seen much of anybody. I mean, if you're a wrestling fan and not necessarily a sports fan, you're thinking, fuck, where's all the wrestlers? So that's kind of where I was at with this. Should we go into, we know who's next. Bob, do you know who's next? Who tries to slam Yoko?
I believe it's my boy Tatanka.
Oh, it sure is.
Yeah, and he tries with some overhand strikes about 3 times, and oddly Yokozuna's seemingly allowing him to do that.
Yeah.
And he goes to the top rope to deliver one, and he hits it, and then he tries for a slam, and do it. So all that hard work, which is probably the most devastating offense that he has, and he's unable to do it. And to add insult to the failure, Yokozuna, who had absorbed all these chops, was like, you know what, buddy? Here's a savant kick right to your jaw.
Yeah.
And then just decided, hey, I'm going to destroy your chest with a leg drop. So Tatanka looked like a freaking scrub.
Yeah, no, totally.
Which, I mean, he's not on Yokozuna's level, so I get why they, but he's undefeated.
I was going to say, yeah, even still, I mean, he's been a featured guy on Raw, so he comes out, and I don't even think, did he even get Yokozuna up on 1 foot for the slam? I don't even think he did.
No, I think when he went for the slam, he immediately went to his lower back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was like, oh, he's like, yeah. But like in pain.
Yeah. Well, and when Yokozuna just kind of disposes of him and hits like the kick and then the leg drop, it's like, oh, well, Tatanka's dead. And they kind of just, he's like gone. So it was kind of like, oh, that kind of sucked.
Well, like before we went on the air, I was even telling you like my love for Tatanka, I think, is slowly dwindling here. And I think this is kind of part of it because I was hoping that Tatanka would be presented as a and maybe aside from Bob Backlund, he was not really presented very well. And to me, I would consider this a loss. It's not a pinfall loss or anything, but it's still a loss. So I don't know if the narrative of him being undefeated is technically correct.
Well, right.
Even in my view.
Yeah, well, because realistically, he answered the challenge and was unsuccessful. So
you would lose. It's like you would. It's not like, hey, I'm going to go to the Super Bowl, and I may have lost, but I'm still fucking undefeated in the Super Bowl. No, that is not how it works. if you don't win, you lost. So
right. Yeah, I was kind of bummed out with that. But the next guy who tries, I was pretty fucking surprised. Because Bill Fralick of the Detroit Lions almost slams Yokozuna. And it looks like a shoot. It looks like this dude got in the ring, football tackled Yokozuna, almost slammed him, and I think Yokozuna kind of had to fight back a little bit and be like, dude, no, don't actually slam me. You're not the guy.
1,000%.
It was hilarious.
That's how I took it.
Yeah, well, because he's caught off guard. Like, because the guy, he rushes in and kind of like literally does kind of a football tackle. Yoko kind of stumbles, but it gets to the point where he kind of gets underneath Yokozuna and is like, it looks like he's going to slam him. And Yoko's got to kind of sandbag him and hit him on the back a couple times and be like, dude, don't fucking slam me.
If he weren't to slam him, he was definitely going to take him down.
Yes, he was trying without a doubt to do that.
Yeah,
for sure.
He might not have, if Bill Fralick really wanted to, he for sure could have taken him down with the football tackle.
Yes.
Without question.
Yes.
Without question.
And you can tell Yokozuna was not expecting that at all.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was close. That was close. But now, how does that make the undefeated Tatanka look when this, football guy just came in here and almost did it with no problem?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
I mean, Fralick is essentially destroyed. It doesn't really help your top baby faces at the time. But speaking of pretty bad, Crush is next, and he is able to get Yoko off the ground. Got I think 1 foot off the ground, but he isn't quite able to execute the slam. And then Randy Savage got in on the action as well, but he couldn't do it either. So then we're left with the impression that, well, this is it, folks.
Right, nobody's going to slam him. Right.
Yeah. But then like our friendly Todd Pettengill, who's on WWF Mania Saturdays at 10, he's saying, "Oh my, wait a minute, we have one more." And then you see a helicopter in the air.
Yeah.
And,
so I know what you guys are thinking. Sergeant Slaughter is going to come out.
Well, it's you would imagine,
right?
Or like Jim Duggan. It's like, oh, I'm here.
Right.
Now, mind you, I watched an unedited version on the WWF Network. There was like a Lex Luger collection or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it was 3 hours long. It's not all the USS Intrepid, and I certainly did not watch all 3 hours. I went to the part where it applied to the situation, and in the unedited version of it, the end, everybody and their mother, Hogan. And Pettengill and Savage and the guys in the ring are, obviously can tell this. So they're delaying the announcement because they're hoping like it'll die down a little bit.
Right.
Because they're just like, all right, well, it's not Hulk Hogan. Instead, after a few second delay here, it is revealed, to much of the confusion of Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji, the man that is here to attempt one last body slam attempt to slam Yokozuna to the mat.
The All-American hero.
For all of America to rejoice and probably remember him for decades to come, centuries to come. He'll be in American history books, textbooks, if they even use those anymore. I don't know. Everything's internet.
Right.
By God, it was Lex fucking Luger.
Not only is it Lex Luger, but it is American flag shirt wearing Lex Luger. It looked like he came off the set of Ico Pro commercial, threw on some jeans, grabbed a t-shirt at, your local fucking memorabilia shop, threw on the American flag shirt, jumped in this helicopter, which, by the way, they never explain why he comes, from a fucking helicopter. It's just, he does. So he lands, he gets out of the helicopter, and mind you, the version I was watching, which was in the Raw replays, you can still hear chants of Hogan. It's pretty apparent still. I'm sure they dialed it back a little bit because it didn't sound like everybody was doing it like Bob had watched.
I pointed that out because they for sure dialed it back.
Yeah. So the episode I was watching was Hogan. So when Lex appears, it's almost confusion because the Hogan chants do die down, but you don't necessarily get Lex Luger chants. It's kind of a confusing thing. And I feel like as Lex is walking towards the ring, he kind of has to go through the crowd a little bit. And the crowd's walking next to him, but they're not freaking out like excited, like, oh my God, Lex Luger just landed. He's going to do it. It's almost like, okay, cool. Like another WWF guy's coming down, but like Lex Luger, okay. Like, no, he might do it. It was by no means, I don't think, the reaction that they were looking for.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, because if Hulk Hogan comes out of that, the fans are freaking rushing him.
Going nuts. Oh, and they're going nuts.
Yeah. Maybe one or two people were like, go get him, Lex. And one of them was Bobby Heenan, but he was confused as fuck. Like, what are you doing here? And then Luger pushed him out of the way, which instantly makes him a babyface.
Right.
Because they made sure to point that out. And Heenan had a look of like a jilted lover. Like, oh my God, you just broke up with me. I was in love with you. I can't believe you put your hands on me. Like that type of thing.
Yes. Yeah. Because he Luger almost stops for a minute. And he's like, Bobby's trying to, I think, talk him out of going to the ring because he's almost there. And then Luger just shoves him.
Yeah, like a dismissive, like, and I think he might have even like shook his head. He's like, get out of here.
Yeah. So it wasn't so much of Bobby's just kind of there and then he shoves him out of the way. They make sure that it's a point that the camera's on him, that he stops, hears what Bobby is saying, and then shoves him away. So it's like a blatant, look, he pushed the mean guy away. He's not mean anymore. It was like a blatant thing. So
I just want to point out how drastically different this is. Like, kind of maybe a little long-winded here. So on July 3rd, he's the narcissist. He's all by himself. He's posing, whatever.
Yeah.
The next day, he looks like the dad you don't want around.
Yeah, he's at the barbecue, like making burgers, but it's like, Dad, we've already all ate.
you know, like he was traveling to New York City and he stopped at a rest stop, like you mentioned. And
yeah.
oh, look at this! Is this a great shirt, Bob? Oh man, I should totally wear this, even though it's like kind of tight and like my.
You're like, Dad, come on, please don't buy that.
Yeah, it's like,
please don't buy
man.
that.
Like no one wears this in public,
right?
But to Lex Luger, it's pretty cool,
right?
I again, like in the mid-year awards there, like my I was liking Lex Luger, and I made sure to note the narcissist.
Yeah.
My appreciation for Lex Luger was like here, and now it's free falling.
Well, like we talked about in 1.0, I think I blew Bob's mind, by the way, with this one.
Oh yeah, don't. I know what you're gonna say.
I think, like I said, you know, in the previous recording of this episode, I think it's more or less for the moment. I liked it. I don't understand this Lex Luger. I don't know why. I think it's the look. Like it's maybe it's not Lex Luger, but if it's like any generic blonde-haired guy coming down in an American flag t-shirt, slamming Yokozuna, and like, oh, everybody goes crazy. I think that's more or less what it is. Like if Mr. Perfect would have do it, I would have been excited. Just the same. I think it was right place, right time for Lex. It comes out of.
Would you have liked to have crushed it? Hello, brother. I was on a helicopter and now I'm here to crush you. Okay.
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, because they haven't really positioned Crush that way.
But have they positioned Luger like this?
Luger's been positioned almost as like unstoppable, like a dangerous guy.
But but in a heel way.
In a heel way, yeah. But you could still believe that he could be the guy.
I know Crush can't beat a freaking clown.
Right.
So that probably wouldn't have helped.
Yeah, you know what, dude? I don't know what it is because the shirt is stupid. The premise is stupid. Like you said, he was just like the mean guy 24 hours ago. So, like, how do you explain that? Oh, in the mirror, I was just looking for the American flag in the arena. That's why we had the mirrors out there. I love America. Wasn't really posing for me. I was posing for the flag. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you validate that, but again, for a segment, I like it. Will I like it moving forward if that's like his gimmick, Mr. America? Hell no.
Well, just to go on full nerd here, and one of my rebookings that I do on my website, WrestlingRecaps.com, I started with the first Raw in '93, and I got to this point, and I kind of went outside the box, and I was like, Ron Simmons.
Ooh, yeah.
And I had Ron Simmons do it.
Yeah.
Now, in reality, he was in WCW or whatever, but in my mind, he never did anything after like late '92 anyway. So I just finagled the time frame a little bit. And Ron Simmons was my guy.
I like that a lot. That would have been awesome. Yeah, like the All-American guy coming. Yeah, that's what I mean. Something like that. Yes. I would have been all for that.
But instead, we get Lex fucking Luger. And now McMahon notes on commentary that Luger had always been proud of himself, but now he is proud. And as noted here, Luger shoved Heenan as he made his way to the ring. And Luger says there's nothing wrong with America, but rather Fuji is a leech and calls Yokozuna a disgrace. Luger proceeds to clean house after Fuji spat at him, and he tosses him to the floor. And then Luger avoids a running splash in the corner, delivers an illegal forearm, picks up Yokozuna, and then slams him down to the mat to win the challenge. Luger, with his cowboy boots on, jumps up to the middle rope, almost slips off and falls, but jumps down to the mat and is just jumping around like he won the world title. Steiner brothers come in and they put him on his shoulder. I think most of the wrestlers were. I know like Backlund and all them were in there.
Yeah.
They celebrate as if Lex Luger just became world champion on the Intrepid.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is, so the crowd did chant for Lex here at one point. Like they did. They definitely did. But so Todd Pettengill tells Lex that it's too late. All the entrants have had their turn. You're too late. of course, Lex doesn't listen to this because why would you? So he grabs the mic and says that ever since King of the Ring, he's seen Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji, just like Bob said, as blood-sucking leeches in the WWF. Fuji threw down the Japanese flag. So he throws it down on the mat, which is kind of like, oh, shit. And
it's like sacrilege, isn't it? You're not supposed
you're not supposed to. In America, I don't know, maybe Japan is different. But yeah, he spits at Lex. And this almost changes things because Lex grabs Fuji by like the scruff of the neck and tosses him out of the ring, like rough. Like, get the fuck out of here. You're gone. So that was, I didn't mind seeing that because Fuji's been annoying the shit out of me the last couple
I was
weeks.
surprised to see Fuji take that kind of bumps to the floor.
Oh, he did.
Like, even his like skirt or whatever, like kind of flies up, and you can see his knees are taped up and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, he definitely takes the bump, and it's a pretty good one. So he's gone. He's out of there. And Lex and Yoko have a pretty intense stare down. Lex is taller than Yokozuna, which kind of ruined it a little bit. Because then you go, okay, well, there's that. Yeah. And the slam was kind of awkward. It was almost like a straight up, straight down. Like Lex got him up easy. But then kind of once he was there, oh shit, he's heavy. And then he slams him back down. It's a real quick thing.
If you're Bobby Heenan, you'd be yelling right now, hip block, hip block.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we get the slam. The crowd is pretty excited at first. Then I think they realize, fuck, that was Lex Luger who did it. That's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And then they cool off really quick. Steiners come down. It was like a little WCW reunion here. Steiners hoist up Luger. They're waving the flag. It was, at that point, it was pretty ridiculous. I don't know necessarily if I like that part of the segment. I like the imagery of the big muscly guy coming out of the helicopter like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger to come, slam this big evil foreigner. Like, I like that part of it. The fact that it's Lex Luger and the fact that he's going to really roll with that American flag thing for a while, I don't like that part of it. But I give this Lex Luger a chance because I don't know. I didn't connect with the narcissist, even though I think it's a stronger character overall. I never really had much interest in that. So I'm trying to give Lex here the benefit of the doubt, clean slate. All right, that was one chapter. Obviously, randomly, we're closing it, but let's see what the next chapter holds, kind of thing.
Well, my problem with it is that I did connect with a narcissist.
Right.
And you're probably wondering why or how. And it's, well, anytime there's a mirror around, I have to look in it. So you can imagine the struggle I feel walking through a parking lot, malls, stores.
Yeah.
Just pretty much anything. I always have to do like one of my little checkout, how's my hair, even though I shave my head, whatever.
Right.
But I always take a little glance. But other than that, I completely agree with what you're saying, is I liked the visual of it. It's something you kind of see like in a movie.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
The hero coming out of nowhere. Kind of like Four Brothers.
Right.
It's a really great movie. At least I think it's really great.
Right.
When they're on the ice there, and Mark Wahlberg's walking up.
Yeah.
Something dramatic, something like that.
Right.
But I don't really know if Lex Luger is the ideal guy to go with it. I really enjoy the narcissist.
No, and that's the thing. And I mean the setting, like the ship, like the battleship and all that. It's all perfect. Like it all makes sense, except for the fact of who it was. It was like your favorite action movie. Like it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, right? And it's like the perfect scene for Arnold. There's explosions in the background, but it's fucking Mr. Bean instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger in the role. And it's like, well, fuck, that doesn't make sense. Like, it's still a cool scene, but it would have been a lot better if Arnold Schwarzenegger was in the role,
Right.
It was like just a bad casting, I would say.
Yeah, well, it seems as if, because I've been reading some observers since I've gotten the subscription, and they've really been, Meltzer makes note that, I guess for years, probably like 5 or 6 years, that they've seen a lot of potential in Luger and how he could be a top guy, face of the company, whatever. And this is them going full steam with it. I don't think it's going to be all that successful or long lasting because the go-to guy here, to me, is Bret Hart.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the fans too. That's who the since before WrestleMania, that's who the fans have wanted. And I think because he doesn't have the Ico Pro look,
right,
that holds him back, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know.
How cool would it have been if Bret Hart came out of the helicopter and then everybody that had American flags switched them out for Canadian flags?
The Canadian hero.
Yeah, Randy Savage has like has got his American stuff on, but he just zips it off and he's Canada.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Who would have been your ideal guy to come out of the helicopter, Bob?
Realistically, my ideal guy
in the company, obviously not fantasy.
Yeah, in the company. Right,
in the company.
Yeah. That's a tough one. It really is. I would have, Scott Steiner is a guy that I've always felt like should have had a major singles run in the WWF before his like body got. But I can see how they didn't want to do that. I don't think a guy like Razor Ramon would be ideal for that spot. I don't think he'd be very good. Crush. I can see where they would maybe want to go with him.
Yeah.
I think there's very few guys you could do it with. I feel like if you're gonna do something like this, you probably should just have it be Hogan.
Well, that's my whole thing because it feels like something they'd set up for Hogan to do. Like that makes sense.
I think he was the original plan.
Yeah,
I'm pretty was.
Let's
say Hogan does it. Let's say Hogan slams Yoko.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Great. And he gets some revenge from King of the Ring and SummerSlam, and Yoko wins. I'm fine with that.
Right. Well, okay, let's turn it up a notch. Let's say, hey, here's a receipt from WrestleMania. Hogan slams Yoko, calls down, come on down. Bret comes down, puts Yoko in the sharpshooter. Like, oh, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Get him, brother. Like, oh, I got him at WrestleMania. You get him now. Huh?
You're saying Bret wins the belt on the Intrepid?
No, just gets the upper hand and like has Yokozuna like in the sharpshooter, and Hogan kind of raises Bret's hand that time. So it's like, I did you the favor at WrestleMania.
What if they did something where it's like a throwback to WrestleMania 9 and somehow Bret Hart wins the belt on the Intrepid?
Right.
Whether, and then Hogan can be like, well, brother, you wouldn't be champion unless it was for me. And then they fight at SummerSlam.
Oh, fuck. And it's Bret versus Hogan. Hogan's the heel. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That would have worked.
I have a WWF magazine where they tease it.
Yeah.
Who would win, Hogan or Hart? SummerSlam 93, like if it were to happen.
Yeah.
So they were kind of maybe thinking that.
Right. And I think, doesn't the way Bret explain it as Hogan always kind of dodged that match and like never wanted to do it?
I believe the way that it was described to Bret was that Bret's recollection of things was kind of weird.
It's twisted.
He thought he was going to make Ultimate Warrior tap out at the Royal Rumble in 93, which I don't know if that would be ever accurate.
Yeah.
And then I believe his understanding was that beat Yoko at WrestleMania 9, and then he would beat Hogan, or King of the Ring, whichever, and it would be a way of making him the next big star. And, it's his era,
right?
And that would probably be a really, really strong way to do it and a believable way to do it. But Hogan was just, nah, I want to be champion for about 2 months and leave.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, and I can totally believe that Hogan really wouldn't have been interested in that, because then you're kind of giving Bret your fire. I think Hogan realizes that he still has fire in the business and doesn't really want to do that. But still, I think, well, realistically, my guy would have been Adam Bomb. Like, I want Adam Bomb to come out.
That's a really good choice.
Right.
So I know I said Hogan, but I know that's not really good. I couldn't think of anybody.
Well, that's who it should have been.
Spot.
Realistically, it should have been Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, like outside the box or somebody new. Adam, I could see it. And the way you can play off Adam Bomb is be like he has this abnormal strength from the nuclear blast or whatever.
Right, and it makes sense. You're on the ship, and the atom bomb has landed, or whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
It all makes sense, and I think he's a guy who would get better reactions as a face anyway, just for his athleticism and like his look. And they don't need heels right now anyway. So if they were to do that, he's not established enough or hasn't had a WrestleMania, feud lead in to whereas if they turned him heel that way, I don't think it would have negatively affected him. To whereas with Luger, literally, like you said, within 24 hours, he's completely changed his entire gimmick, which is like, that doesn't make sense.
I have two other ones to question it here before we continue on with this show. No, the first one's a joke. How about Mabel from Men on a Mission?
That's his debut. Holy shit.
Yeah, and then you guys like, whoop, there it is.
Oh my God.
There it is. No? Okay.
Another big guy.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to think of. And then how about Diesel? The guy hasn't said a fucking word since he's came in. He hasn't done jack diddly shit. And then he comes out of the fucking helicopter. You could have, instead of Bobby Heenan, show him, what the fuck are you doing? Like, where'd you get a helicopter? Where'd you get the helicopter?
Oh shit.
Diesel comes and slams him. And then he can just put it, and then he doesn't have a huge celebration or nothing. He just puts his fist up like Diesel.
Or like pops his collar, puts his fists up and walks the fuck out.
Yes.
Oh my God, dude. He would have been the most over guy ever.
People, like, if I'm a kid watching that, like, holy fucking shit, that guy just did that.
Oh shit. Even though those little bitch kicks looked horrible, I'm down with that. Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, Diesel was, I guess, the next one that really came to mind. Mabel would be kind of cool too, though. I could see people in Manhattan on the streets.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah,
Madison Square Garden sold out.
Right.
Tonight it's Mabel against Bob Backlund for the world title. Sign me up.
Oh God, don't say that. What about a guy like Bam Bam?
Sure,
I'll show you who the real badass is. You're nothing. I'll slam you and make it look easy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bam Bam. Although, I mean, would people really cheer him for scalping Tatanka recently?
Well, maybe that's not what he's looking for. He's looking for the bragging.
He could come back. He could come on around like, guys, my anger was misguided. I thought Tatanka was taunting me with the red in his hair. I thought he was making fun of my flames.
Right.
I apologized, but I'm pro-America and all Native Americans, and I slammed Yokozuna.
Then Luna sings the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh my God.
And our flag was.
Yeah.
Oh,
that would be quite brutal. To have to sit through that one. But no, I think I like the Adam Bomb one. I do.
I'm telling
you, by all accounts, from what we've heard, I think you've listened to it. Bruce Pritchard. They didn't seem like they were all that big on him.
Yeah, they
really surprising.
Well, it's funny because it seems like he was just kind of an afterthought. Like they didn't really put too much thought or like effort into him, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they mentioned that recently.
Yeah, he tried. I think on his podcast here, I heard him say that they didn't think that Brian Clark, who played it.
Oh, you're frozen up on me there, Bob.
From various lollipops or Jolly Ranchers. And then, his eyes are green or yellow, depending on the day.
Yeah.
So I think he was pretty committed to it. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, the look is there. It's not too much to stretch the imagination.
No pun intended. He definitely has raw potential.
Yes.
To be something big.
Yes.
Or, bigger for WWF. And And you noted they don't need heels. I think they kind of do, considering Luger and Ramon are both turning faces, so
Right
they're kind of
now.
depleted now. So,
Yeah. Yeah, now.
yeah. So that's a little.
I would have
It's an
kept
interesting
Lex
thought.
as a main event heel. I would have
I
just
think you
kept him.
have to. I think you
Yeah.
have to. I
Yeah.
mean, they barely even did anything with the narcissist gimmick. There's a lot of things you could do.
Right. Yeah, it didn't have much legs for very long.
One guy we didn't even mention was the Undertaker.
Yeah, but he's not going to come out in the helicopter.
Should he have like driven up in a hearse or something?
That would have been cool. That would have been really cool.
Yeah. I don't even. Do you think Undertaker could really slam him though? Maybe if he like bounced off the ropes or something, get the little spring.
Right. And I don't know if the crowd would have reacted as huge though either for Undertaker. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe. Well, either way, that's how it goes down, folks. That's how Yokozuna goes down.
Yeah, we had quite a bit of dialogue on that.
Yeah,
so you all enjoyed that.
Well, it's an important thing moving forward. So
this is going to eat up a lot of IcoPod for like the next. I mean, realistically, it goes on for like 2 years, but in a main event sense,
yeah.
So we go back to the arena where McMahon lets us know that Mr. Fuji, being the true sportsman that he is, has declined Lex Luger's challenge for the WWF World Championship. Randy Savage chimes in saying that they are proud.
Yeah, we're damn proud. Damn proud.
He says it like 3 or 4 times, as if he didn't know what else to say.
Right.
And Bobby Heenan, who was once the top advocate for Lex Luger and had an orgasm, I guess you could say, at the Royal Rumble.
The legs, Lex. Show him the legs, Lex. Just one more time, Lex.
He considers Luger to have gotten damn lucky.
Yeah.
So that that's probably what, 15 minutes into the show, 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They have certainly cemented Luger as being a baby face. So there is no confusion as to whether we should be cheering or booing Mr. Steel Forearm Lex Luger.
Yeah.
Coming out of that, we go to our first match of the evening, and it is a barn burner. It is 1-2-3 Kid against Blake Beverly. And I have it noted here that Blake Beverly is no longer sporting facial hair. And he also has probably gained about 15, 20 pounds of fat.
Yeah.
He hasn't really been keeping up with it. And I also have it noted here that the 1-2-3 Kid doesn't have any eyebrows, as they've been shaved off. This is a infamous prank played by Mr. Perfect. And now if you have a Hasbro action figure, and I believe you can just Google it or whatever, you'll see that 1-2-3 Kid does not have eyebrows. It's because Mr. Perfect did it the night before.
Oh my god! Those
pictures were to be taken, so it's roughly around that time that this match is taking place.
And it's so funny too, because before you had notes on that, Bob, I didn't even realize. Like, I had no idea.
I knew something was off. I was watching on my computer, and I looked. I'm like, that's a really big forehead. And I looked, I literally moved closer with him. I was like, oh my god, his eyebrows are shaved off.
Oh yeah. See, I didn't even notice. Although I did notice that we did see a very big Doink the Clown sign near the front row. So that's, they're still hanging on with Doink. I am too. But going into this first match here, I was, pleasantly surprised to see 1-2-3 Kid with his brand new gear on. That finally said 1-2-3 on it. So it was about time. Maybe he used that 10 grand to buy the new tights.
I would hope so.
Yeah. The crowd was loving 1-2-3 Kid. He's got to be one of the most over people on the roster at this point. And after a quick commercial break, the entire arena was chanting 1-2-3. So he's a made guy already.
I think it's the look and his offense.
Yeah,
it's so drastically different than anything you've seen on the television programs that he immediately sticks out, and he's the ultimate underdog
for sure.
That you can for sure get behind, because even coming into this, you might be thinking Blake Beverly's got a shot. I mean, he might even be the favorite
to win
this. Realistically, why wouldn't we think that?
Right.
So the match starts off with Blake slapping Kid to the mat. And as you have noted, the crowd is going to be chanting 1-2-3 throughout the match.
Yeah.
And they do early on. Kid drop kicks Beverly from behind to the floor, then follows up with a baseball slide. Kid then drop kicks Beverly after being lifted into the air for another 2 count, and he follows up with a spin kick for another near fall. Blake stops Kid with a power slam to counter a leapfrog attempt, and then Beverly drives Kid down to the mat with a neck breaker. Beverly slams Kid over the top turnbuckle, and Kid crashes to the floor. Beverly just goes to the floor, continues with some basic strikes. Blake comes off the ropes with a jumping headbutt, and then he press slams Kid over the top of the floor once again.
Yeah, you know what? And there's a lot of good moves in here, but a couple of times it almost looked like 1-2-3 Kid was working so quickly that Beverly was having a hard time like selling his moves because they were so quick. I know at one point 1-2-3 Kid around this time of the match hit a drop kick and Beverly like landed on Kid's legs on the way down. So 1-2-3 Kid's hitting the move so quickly and then coming down from them. Beverly doesn't even have time to land yet and sell before he's done with the move. So there was definitely a little bit of a clash of styles here, but nonetheless, I don't think it took away from the match very much. It just, if anything, it enhanced 1-2-3 Kid because it was like, holy shit, you know, this kid is something way out of left field.
He's moving like he's lightning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get it? Lightning Kid?
Right. Nice
Get
one,
it?
Bob.
That was his name? Before?
That was great.
Okay.
L Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lightning.
Mm.
Okay. Well, Beverly delivers a backbreaker, and then he drives Kid back first into the corner and then hits a running power slam for another 2 count. Kid tries for a middle crossbody, but Blake sidesteps the move, and then he decks Kid with a short arm clothesline. Blake middle ropes off the middle rope, but misses a double axe handle attempt and hits the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Kid goes to the top and takes Blake out with a somersault dive to the outside, which was what he was trying to do, and slipped and literally smashed his face on the concrete floor. So he successfully pulled it off this week. Beverly is saying that he's hurt as they get back in the ring, and Kid, being a good little boy, like, hey man, what's going on? They're checking on him, and Blake was faking it, and Kid is able to duck a wild strike, and but Blake is able to hit a back suplex because Kid was at one point trying to do a blind leapfrog, so his back was to Blake, try to time it to jump up. It's pretty impressive that they pulled it off and looked pretty good. Blake mesh moments later, hitting a top rope leg drop for the win. What did you think of that?
You know what? I thought it was pretty good. For a Blake Beverly match with 1-2-3 Kid, who isn't quite proven yet in the ring, I would say, with like top talent guys. I mean, he's fought Razor Ramon, but that's it. For an opener, I thought it was very strong. Even the fact that they didn't mesh, 100%. I was impressed with this opening match. I have it noted here that I really liked the leg drop off the top, right to the back of Blake Beverly's head. And for a little throwaway match, it was pretty decent. Like they worked pretty hard.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the match, ever expecting it to be any kind of entertainment. And really coming out of this, testament to his style, is I wouldn't mind seeing Blake Beverly being repacked different capacity than being a Beverly brother.
Yeah.
I've always liked Blake, who is Mike Enos, better than Bo, who is Wayne Bloom. I've always is the last name of some relatives that I have.
Right.
And it might even be related to Mike. I don't know. Who knows? But coming out of that, Blake gets some more work and maybe a different character. And 1-2-3 Kid is explosive. He's got some resilience. Yeah. It was a really a pretty enjoyable thing. It was like 9 minutes too, so I got plenty of time. Held my interest. So.
Yep. And it didn't feel too long. Like it didn't drag on. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and like you said, I think if they were to repackage Blake Beverly, who knows? Who knows what they'd be able to get out of him. It might even light more of a fire under him to kind of get back in shape a little bit and kind of have some more enthusiasm when it comes to his in-ring stuff. But you never know.
Even if it wasn't in a singles role, I mean, he could, if he got like in better shape, like similar to what he was earlier, and they're bringing back Rick Martel. I mean, him and Martel could be like a tag team or something.
Yeah, that would be.
That could.
Yeah, you could do that.
Duo, I guess,
for sure.
But who knows? Speaking of a tag team, a vignette promoting Men on a Mission, Mo, Mabel, and Oscar. They are a rap trio, and they are coming into the WWF. Oscar's segment is rapping about how they're coming in or whatever. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. But as he's rapping, you can see Mabel and Mo behind him, and they look rather disinterested. They're just kind of they're not even mean mugging. They're not like, oh, yeah, we're coming at you. They're just, and Mabel specifically was just okay, like I'm just here.
Yeah, they looked very out of place. So to start the vignette off, we get flashes of like a subway, a park, a back stairwell of an old like factory or something, and it's all over like a generic hip hop beat. And then all of a sudden, you could totally tell it was like a green screened in trio began the rap. So I picked up on Mabel and Mo's name for sure. The other guy's name I didn't even catch watching it at the time. But the main guy, like the middle guy, I didn't catch. He looked a little bit like Biz Markie of like the rappers. But this was totally like corny 90s Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like it didn't age well at all. And even at the time, I don't know if you would even saw it as cool at the time. Like, I don't know. Because like you said, the main team doesn't even look like they care to be in the video.
Right. Growing up, I liked on a Mission.
Yeah.
Liked Mabel.
Right.
Mabel,
You're skipping a little bit on me, Bob.
That's fine. I'm sure everybody else can hear me. It's probably just you.
Oh, thanks.
Mabel, though, it would even go on throughout his career. That I was like Viscera and all that stuff. Like I still enjoy him. I think when they debut, you might be surprised by what they're capable of doing. And,
yeah.
You might enjoy him. So
I don't know.
I'm looking forward to seeing some.
I'm glad you are, because at this point, I don't know if I am. Like, I don't know if I'm very excited to see them, but oh well. We need the tag team.
The next time you sit down to watch these shows, you'll be seeing them.
Fuck.
And you're gonna text me. That's gonna be great.
Fuck.
Okay. Coming out of that, we get our typical Ico Pro ad with Lex Luger, which is probably gonna be drilled in our brains for the next 6 to 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go backstage where Bam Bam Bigelow and Luna Vachon are, that the most dominant force will be in action next.
Yeah. And like we went over the first time we recorded this, Bam Bam's literally staring at the wall in front of him with his back to the camera. And it's like he was in timeout. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like he's just staring at the wall. It could have been a cutout of Bam Bam's back because he doesn't move. He doesn't say anything. Doesn't even make a noise. Like Luna cuts this little quick promo and then we're out of there. And it's like, okay, that was a weird thing.
I kind of took it as Bigelow's looking at the wall and he's thinking, where's the camera, Luna? Where is it? And then Luna's talking to him. And then like turn around. Oh yeah, all right. Yeah. Maybe. I kind of took it.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Or anything. Oh, this guy's so mad he's staring at a wall. Whoa, he's watching paint dry. This guy's nuts. I know.
Either that or like you said, it's like, all right, tell me when we're starting. I'll turn around. Give me the cue.
Is the crew over here?
Luna, are we on yet? Give me the cue.
It's like I'm staring at a wall.
She just never gives him a cue, and then they go off. He's like, what do you mean? I didn't get to turn around yet.
There's so many guys with flames on their head. That was bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the premise was there for that one.
This was for the next segment here, and it's Bam Bam Bigelow against Joey Maggs, and I'm assuming reportedly that segment went that he was so pissed off he went right into the ring against Joey Maggs and like killed him in about 34 seconds because he splashes Maggs in the corner a couple times. Look at that.
Oh, you're frozen up on me, Bob.
You know, but you're just staring at me.
Yeah, because you suck.
That's fine.
All right, so yes, going into the match here. So Joey Maggs, he's in black and white gear, decent shape, but yeah, like you said, Bam Bam goes right to work on the guy. He's whipping him from corner to corner, hitting splashes, and pins him immediately. It wasn't even really a match. I thought it had to be less than a minute total. I thought it was a very impressive squash match, as I don't think we've gotten that quick of a squash match before. And I just couldn't help but to still think here, you know, pre-match promo aside, how good Luna and Bam Bam look visually together. It's perfect. It's a perfect
the ideal partnership.
Yes, completely. I liked the squash match. I think Bam Bam needed this to kind of get over the fact that, hey, this is your next big dominant guy. Because, like I said, that squash match had to have been maybe 30 seconds. Like, that's how quick it was. And it was so quick that it was like Bam Bam got the pin just because he knew the guy was out cold. Like, I didn't really even do a big move. I'm just going to pin him now because I know he's not going to kick out. That's how dominant it looked.
I was really surprised that he didn't win with a diving headbutt. But then maybe...
Yeah, he didn't need it. He didn't need it because I think that it even adds to it because he's so dangerous. He doesn't even need his finishing move. He just whipped this guy from corner to corner and pinned him.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I didn't really care for it. It was only like 34 seconds, like I said. But
yeah.
It's just there. Coming out of that, we get an All-American ad for Bobby Heenan and Mean Gene.
Mm-hmm.
And then the announcers promote SummerSlam, which is taking place on August 30th, which is a Monday in Auburn Hills, Michigan. And yes, that would be a Monday night, so Raw would be preempted. There's a stretch there for what? I think after August 16th.
Ugh.
That is preempted. There's like the SummerSlam Spectacular, but then in terms of original Raw material, I think it's like 3 or 4 weeks before they come back on. So
I hope it's not as rough as you're making it sound, Bob.
No, it's preempted.
Yeah.
You don't get this. There's nothing there. It's like I think it's like the dog show in like Wimbledon or something that they gotta watch. All right, so coming back from those announcements, we have our third match of the evening. It is the Undertaker taking on Samu. What did you think of this match there, Austin?
All right, so I'll start right at the top here. Samu made his way to the ring behind Afa, per usual, and they were billing this as kind of the return of Undertaker since being attacked by Mr. Hughes with the urn. So Undertaker came out through the pitch black with just a spotlight on him. They've never done this on Raw before, so this was kind of the first time, and it was interesting to see kind of the start of what we would eventually know as Undertaker's, fantastic entrance. Because usually, like before on Raw, he would just come out, walk to the ring, no change in lighting, with his music, which, the crowd popped for still, but it didn't quite hold the power that it did in the years to come. But yes, they cut the lights out for this. He just gets the spotlight, and it's kind of a cool visual because the camera's shooting from above the ring almost. So you can tell, like I said, you can kind of tell where they'd be going with it, but I'm glad that we're finally starting to transition into that. So that started us off. I was expecting a pretty competitive match here between these two. I was kind of bummed it wasn't Fatu, but I know Samu can still work. He's proven it before. So with that said, I was glad to see Undertaker maybe finally getting something he can sink his teeth into a little bit more instead of fucking Mr. Hughes and Giant Gonzalez all the time. So I was going to give these guys, my attention here. Starting right off, big Undertaker chant broke out as the two stood toe to toe. And we kind of got like a test of each guy. Like they tested each other with shoulder blocks. Undertaker tried to leapfrog Samu, but then they kind of collided in what seemed like a little bit of a botch. So there might be a little bit of clash of styles there, but you can tell they're kind of testing the waters still in the beginning of the match. And just as far as the botch goes, I don't know if it was Samu who didn't duck enough or Taker didn't jump high enough, but that did look a little sloppy. All the while the match kind of was still getting underway, Bobby said that Paul Bearer was in Mobile, Alabama, robbing graves. Like that's where he's been this whole time since the urn was stolen from him, which I thought was a very interesting way of passing the time for Paul Bearer. He doesn't come off as the guy who would be physical enough to grave rob by himself. But who knows? You know, maybe Bobby's got a little insider knowledge there. Back in the action, Undertaker hit a pretty surprising drop kick. And you could tell, kind of like we talked about before, Bob, this match, Undertaker was pulling out some new stuff. Like, this was a different Undertaker that we saw in this match. And it was just as simple as some of the quickness of the moves to where usually he'd be very kind of static in his movements. He's hitting drop kicks. Maybe the urn, getting rid of that is good for the Undertaker because he was looking much different this time around. He got into like his signature offense, like the tightrope, walk, clothesline over the top, that sort of thing, until finally Undertaker started to pursue Afa on the outside. This allowed Samu to get the upper hand, hit him from behind, and take back over. Samu slammed him hard on the mat twice, just for Undertaker to, of course, sit up. He grabbed Samu by the throat, whipped him from corner to corner and up into the post. So we kind of got a little swing in momentum there. Undertaker failed to sit up after a headbutt to allow for Samu to hit a top rope headbutt right on the money. And Undertaker laid flat. So Samu slapped Undertaker hard a couple times right across the face and went back up to the top to try again. Of course, this is when Undertaker was able to sit up. He sat up, chokeslammed Samu, hit him with the tombstone pile driver. The crowd stood up for that, by the way, in anticipation. Like they were ready to see a tombstone pile driver. So he hits that and gets the pin. I think all things considered for what it could have been, I thought it was a pretty refreshing Undertaker match. There was a lot of solid action in there, good kind of exchanges between the two. There was a couple flub ups, with the leapfrog thing and some of the other stuff, but I don't know. Maybe this is a turning point for Undertaker. Maybe we don't need to see the urn anymore. We don't need to see Paul Bearer as much. Maybe Undertaker can get it done in the ring alone. Like he doesn't need that stuff. Maybe that's what he was out to try and prove here. I don't know.
Prove that he can actually wrestle.
Because
he had somebody of a decent size that wasn't some large beast of a human that can't move around very well.
Right.
So I enjoyed it again. And this is another match similar to 1, 2, 3 Kid and Blake Beverly, where I went into it thinking this is going to be brutal. I'm not possibly going to enjoy this because, like you, I consider a fought to be a little head shrinker.
Yeah.
But Samu is more than capable, and he proved it in this match. It's a fun little match.
Yeah, it is.
I can't even complain about it. So two surprisingly really fun matches. So
yeah, and like you said, you kind of go into it not really knowing what to expect. I expected a competitive match, but not to the point we got it. Like it surpassed my expectations.
Yeah, for sure. Coming out of that, we get a WWF Mania ad. It seems like they got a whole bunch of syndication these days. I tell you, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Coming back from that, the WWF World Champion Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji come to the ringside area to be interviewed by Vince McMahon. McMahon asks how it feels to hear the fans chant USA. Fuji claims that Luger cheated using the steel plate in his forearm, and he's also claiming that there wasn't a slam, but rather a hip toss. So Fuji said no to the title being on the line against Luger because he's a cheater. Now, McMahon wonders about the likes of Bret Hart, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan. Are any of these guys going to get a title shot? And Fuji says that anybody can get a title shot because Yokozuna will take them out one by one. So naturally, we have a challenger come out. And it is none of the three previously mentioned, nor is it even Lex Luger. Instead, it is the guy that cannot beat a damn clown. He gets tricked seemingly every single time, and he gets hit by fake arms, water square in his face. But damn it, he'll kill an octopus if he has to.
An octopus.
An octopus. He confronts Yokozuna and Fuji. Crush thanks Luger for slamming Yokozuna and making him proud to be part of the USA.
Yeah.
McMahon notes that Fuji issued an open challenge just moments ago. Fuji's like, no, it didn't. That never happened. Crush is here to kick the door down, and he Fuji again is like, what are you talking about? No, you can't do that. So McMahon turns his attention to Yokozuna and asks him if he will accept the challenge. And Yokozuna briefly looks at Fuji, and he's just like, yes. So the title match will then take place next week, right here on Raw. Now, Fuji says that Crush will lose, and Crush will further the embarrassment of Fuji because he's going to win the title.
Yeah.
He's sure of it. He's going to win it next week, brother.
And my whole question was this whole time was, okay, so they deny the challenge from Lex Luger and then proceed to throw out an open challenge.
To anyone.
Anybody in the back. Anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it not Lex Luger who fucking comes down to the ring and says, okay, I'm going to answer your challenge then if you can't answer mine? Done.
Well, there's a logic that's lacking here. Is that they're denying him a title opportunity just because he slammed him.
Right.
That doesn't warrant the title match. Right. And then they proceed to issue an open challenge.
Yeah.
Storyline wise, that doesn't make much sense because you're absolutely right. Lex Luger should then come out and be like, well, if you're not going to give me, I'll just accept your open challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Making it to get a title shot. But instead, that moved to it.
Right.
He got to the curtain first, and he turned around. Sorry, brother. Gotta take this.
Yeah, like what? First of all, what is warranted Crush a title opportunity?
Absolutely nothing. There's so many things.
Right. Right.
I don't think anybody that's writing this that Crush a legitimate threat. In the fans' eyes, is he really a title?
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Done nothing in '93 to even warrant the thought that he could be WWF World Champion.
Right.
None.
Right. Yeah, that's what I that's the only thing coming out of it that I was questioning. Like, okay, Crush, but like why? Why isn't it Luger? I don't get that.
Or like Bret.
Yeah.
Bret Hart.
Yeah, even Bret.
Anybody.
Fucking Crush comes out.
I would have had like a few people come out, and then you can have like a battle royal or something.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Oh, next week on Raw, we're gonna have the Yeah, right, right.
Yeah, like a 5-man battle royal, and whoever wins is gonna.
Right. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I thought it was pretty silly.
But it's what? That's gonna be our second world title at Fatu. So this is Crush and Yoko. I mean. I guess for Raw, it's a relatively big match in title defense.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking it as a potential title change. That's for sure.
Right. Right.
Coming out of that, we get an ad for SummerSlam, which is so hot they couldn't show it until the end. The heat.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm so thrilled.
Yeah, it was very basic. It was just kind of like the logo and the date. And like you said, that was the tagline. Oh, an event's so hot, we had to wait till the end of the summer to show it. And we do get a brief flash of Luger shown kind of behind the logo in flames. So you know he's going to play a big part in it. But yeah, they didn't tell us too much about kind of anything. Which, fair enough. It's still pretty far away.
I did notice how plain it was.
It was very plain, very basic.
Yeah, like they didn't. Maybe it was like a last minute addition. Like, just all right, just get in there.
Yeah, we just
promote
need
it.
something to air. Just use this logo, and I don't know. Yeah.
Back to the arena. Randy Savage believes that Crush will win the WWF World Championship. I mean, I would hope he would think that and not be like, "Oh, Crush, he's gonna fucking."
Yeah, he doesn't have a chance.
No chance.
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan thinks that something is wrong with America for chanting Luger. Now, mind you, as of a week ago, was in love with Lex Luger. So
yeah,
maybe American. Maybe he's actually a foreigner. And he now doesn't like Lex Luger. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. What I do know is that coming up next year is the main event, if you want to call it that. It is Mr. Perfect taking on Brian Costello. Needless to say, this goes about less than 2 minutes. Perfect hits a drop kick, chops Costello outside of the ring a few times, and then once they get inside the ring, Perfect wins the match with the Perfect Plex. Pretty simple, basic, uneventful way, I guess, to end the action part of the show.
Yeah, and I would say it was one of the weaker matches of the night. So when Mr. Perfect came out, he was facing this guy. The guy's in pea green tights, hairy, and his name's like Brian Costello or whatever Bob said. But Perfect sticks his gum to the ugly ring girl's glasses, and she just kind of laughs and walks off, like, "Oh, Mr. Perfect," you know. But that's so kind of a dick thing, you know. Those could be her prescription glasses that you just almost ruined with gum. Like, thanks. Now she's got to buy new ones. Perfect was lighting the guy up, though, all over the ring. He goes into the finish and he yells, "Who wants to see the perfect plex?" to the crowd, which I hate when they do that, because then you, as the opponent, you're like, shit, he's going to hit the perfect plex. I better reverse it. Like, it kind of snaps you back into the moment, like, oh my God, I'm about to lose. But no, he hits it. And it was another quick kind of enhancement match for the quote unquote main event of the night. Just seeing the fire behind Mr. Perfect, I think, is so good and so refreshing compared to where we were a couple months ago. I hope it continues. I hope he stays healthy and stays active enough to where he and Sean can really kind of tear it up in their feud. Because if they can, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's no doubt that he is certainly more motivated. It's probably the first 4 months of '93.
Yeah.
Not cared about him. But ever since he's gotten inserted into the feud with Shawn Michaels, you can tell that he's ramping it up a little bit. So he's definitely got motivation. And I enjoy around this time compared to what I was dealing with prior. Before the show comes to an end, though, some footage of Luger slamming Yokozuna is shown once again, and McMahon makes sure to say that he considers Luger to be an American hero.
Yeah.
Pretty big fucking sell there.
Yeah. And then we proceeded to get more footage from yesterday's show of Yoko being beaten down by Lex and then slammed. It's like slowed down, and that's kind of how we fade to black as we see the slam, and that's kind of it for the episode. But yeah, it's kind of what this whole episode was. Like, the undertones were Lex Luger, like Lex Luger. Look at him. He's good. He just got praise from 5 different faces. Like, please like Lex Luger. That's kind of what this show felt like.
Yeah, if Tatanka, Crush, and Steiner Brothers like him, you have to like him as well.
Right.
For the modern day Roman Reigns situation, you gotta love him. Take him.
Right.
You will love this. As for my final thoughts on the show, so that wraps up the show. Because Kid Beverly and certainly don't come across as being potentially really big matches or even enjoyable matches, but it was. And we set up for next week between Yoko and Crush for the world title, even though Crush doesn't necessarily, deserve it, or he hasn't even earned it for the most part.
Right.
I enjoyed it for for what it was. So,
Yeah, I think
shockingly.
I agree with you. I think it flew by. I like that we got more development of feuds. Pretty clear path to SummerSlam, I think, at this point. I did like this episode better than last week's by a small margin. It was just quick action. There wasn't too much talking. I enjoyed all the recaps of the Body Slam Challenge. I thought they were nicely peppered throughout the show. So, like, there wasn't too long of stretches where we weren't getting action from the current Raw. They just kind of spotted it in here and there, which I like the way they did that. I wouldn't have mind watching the whole little Sunday afternoon extravaganza. But I think they showed you the parts that you needed to see. So it was a nice balance of, here's Raw's action, but here's what happened yesterday. To the point where they'll do that sometimes with Mania and stuff, like some of the syndicated stuff. And it just gets like dragged out and it's boring. And it's like, I just want to see some new stuff on Raw. I didn't feel like that with this show. So that was nice. I enjoyed how they did it. And like I said, I think it spoke to the quick little action segments that we did get.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I think I watched Mania and Livewire. I never watched it. I was on like 9 o'clock at night. I couldn't stay up late anyway.
Yeah.
But those shows are like the perfect blend.
Right.
Like, oh, this is what happened this week, and then they would have a feature match or whatever. I think that's probably why it was better off for me anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. They didn't oversaturate the moment. I mean, they talked about it the entire show, but they didn't footage wise.
I wasn't sick of it. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So before we wrap it up here, I got several listener feedback things. I'll just read through real quick. We'll comment on it if there's anything that comes to mind here. Smash TV from the Freaking Awesome Network forum, which is a forum I regularly visit. It's pretty fun. There's a lot of good conversation, especially if you like old school wrestling like myself. He says, I'm working my way through the episodes and have just finished March to WrestleMania. Your description of the Mega Maniacs and Crush interviews made me seek them out and see how bad they were. They were even more gloriously bad than I could have ever imagined. Thank you for highlighting them. They made my lunch hour. Keep up the good work. I'm really enjoying the episodes. He continues on in a later post here that I'm enjoying them so much. I went straight to the WrestleMania 9 episode. I've only seen it once, and that was the original broadcast. I thought it was strange and below average card then, and I think the same now. From Jim Ross making his debut to Luna Vachon coming out with Shawn, to the screwy finishes to the flat crowd, to Hogan getting the belt, more on this later. It just seemed like things were thrown together with no rhyme or reason. WrestleMania used to be where feuds were concluded, but this was also open-ended and indecisive. It just seemed, as you said during the episode, like the build-up to WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
The Hogan Yoko finish is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of this show. I started watching in 1987 when I was 12 and hadn't really liked Hogan. My friends all raved about him, but I always preferred smaller guys like Savage or Steamboat. So Hogan's absence was very welcome. His 1993 comeback seemed out of place, as it had been good to see guys like Flair, Savage, Brett, Shawn, and Bulldog put on some quality wrestling matches instead of brawls. Hogan didn't fit in around this time, especially with the emphasis on the tag titles. Why would fans get excited about Hogan vying for the tag title? He was never a tag title guy. The match with Money Incorporated was a joke with a referee jacket finish and not what you'd imagine for Hogan's comeback match. However, when Hogan appeared in the interview with Mean Gene before the Brett Yoko match, alarm bells began to ring. Hogan and Brett are friends now? Really? I had a horrible feeling that somehow Hogan would wind up in the main event, but I never imagined he'd get the damn title. I was beyond pissed off that he'd got the title again, as it was an insult to Brett and Yoko, and to some extent the fans. He'd been booed considerably at the 92 Rumble, which showed the fans had grown tired of him. Bringing him back and winning the title was just a slap in the face and not the right move at all, as proved by him losing the belt at King of the Ring. The most galling part of this for me, I'm from the UK and watched this show live from midnight onwards. I stayed up until 3 a.m. just to see this nonsensical ending. Screw you, Hulk Hogan. Now, if I was 12 years old and I experienced that too, I'd have the same reaction.
Yeah, it felt like it wasn't fair. Like they gave us, that's like, so you go to a fancy restaurant. It's one of your favorite places to eat, and you really look forward to the main meal, right? You can't wait. You can't wait to get to that, like, let's say steak. You sit down, and instead of bringing your steak over, the waiter brings over like the cake or like the dessert before the meal you're looking forward to. And it's like, yeah, I like that, but at the same time, that's not what I want right now. Like I'm looking forward to the real food, the real meat and potatoes of this meal. That's kind of how it feels like. It's almost like you're cheating the system a little bit. Like it didn't make sense. The whole thing is it's Brett and Yoko. That was the main picture. That was the main meal. And then you just throw Hogan in here kind of to cut the line and cut the order. And it's like, no, I like that, but not right here, right now.
Yeah.
You know, I totally agree. I would agree with pretty much everything he said there. It's funny that he pointed out the promos that we highlighted, because those are, as of right now, those are the two. And when I say two, I mean the Hogan one with, on the platform talking about the jet skis and the BS, and the Crush one, the pre-taped Crush one. Those are the two promos that I think out of all of 93, I'm going to remember the most and probably want to go back and watch a few more times throughout my wrestling escapades. But yeah, it's I couldn't agree more. I would have never I would have probably skipped the next couple of pay-per-views if I was him as a kid. Like I would have told my parents, don't even bother, because if it's just going to be that, then I don't even want to see that.
I probably wouldn't watch King of the Ring.
No, I wouldn't have tuned in.
To like boycott it.
Yep. Especially staying up till 3 a.m. to watch it. Like fucking A.
Yeah. He must have been a big Bret Hart fan or something.
Yeah.
As he noted, obviously he was. So
right.
To be up till 3 a.m. just to see your favorite guy lose to the old timer.
Yeah, get shit on basically. Because
Bret didn't even lose to him. He lost to Yoko, who then lost to the old timer. So it's like a double whammy.
Yeah, it's like you stick the knife in the back and then you twist it. It's like fucking A.
Yeah, exactly. Mike Campbell, he shared a comment here regarding the May 24th edition of Raw. He said, my favorite thing about the Perfect Doink match, aside from it being a good match, is Bobby Heenan screaming, he beat the wrong Doink. And when Vince calls him out on it, he backpedals and says, it was wrong for him to beat Doink. So it's a little appreciation for Bobby Heenan on commentary. I mean, we could probably make episodes just dedicated to what stuff.
Yeah. And I always try to make note of those. Like if there's little gems in there that you guys would, find really, really funny, I try to slip them in there and then at least make note of them. Yeah. That way, if you go back to those episodes, you have something to look forward to. Like, oh, I remember IcoPod told us, a couple of the good lines here. But yeah, it's the one hit wonders by Bobby Heenan every week.
There's like a few different YouTube videos where you can just play him. For 15 minutes. It's just like, that's why WrestleMania 8 is one of my favorite shows, just because he's
in rare form. Yeah.
He kills it. Lastly here, Joe Mitchell, he shares his comments about Lex Luger becoming a U.S. hero, I guess you could say. Honestly, at the time, even still looking back at it, it's just such a bizarre time in the WWF. Lex is a heel and then puts on an American flag shirt and all is forgiven. His steel forearm was now a good thing and not cheating.
Right.
I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall behind the scenes in 1993. You and me both, Joe. You and me both.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what does that meeting even sound like? Like, oh, okay, guys. Here's what we're gonna do now. Get a damn flag shirt. Don't talk about the forearm anymore. Have him slam Yokozuna. Done. Book it. Like, wait, what? What do you mean? No, that's what we're doing.
Well, 12 hours ago, Luger was a heel on TV. I don't care.
No, nobody watched it. They don't care. They don't know.
It's superstars. No one fucking watches superstars.
Yeah, like what? It's so asinine and backwards. that you can't help but to just kind of laugh and move on. Like if you think too much about it, your head hurts. If you try to apply logic, it doesn't work. So that's really, Bob, that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of writing it off as up. It's 1993 and then just moving on, because otherwise it's, you know, people complain all the time about today's product. Like back in the day, if I was like 19, 20 watching that, I would have been like, what the fuck? Like that? No, I don't like that. You know?
But even if we don't like it, we must continue. And we will be continuing on with the IcoPod series as we continue on here in 93. And just to give a little, I guess, a summary here of what we're going to be scheduled to tape in the next few weeks. The next time we will sit down, which will be on Sunday this week, in about a couple of days now, will be the July 12th and July 19th editions of Raw. And then we have the 7/26, 8/2 Raws, 8/9, 8/16. And then we have SummerSlam 93, which I have it tentatively here as this being one show, because it's going to be a fucking 3-hour show that we have to sit through anyway. Who knows what kind of notes we'll have. And then considering we'll have a pretty big backlog at that point, we'll probably do 2 live watches. And I know you had talked to Joe.
Yep, Joe Gianfortune. He is in for some live watch action. Hopefully we can make that happen. Yeah. I'll have to talk to him more. I know he was looking at dates and stuff like that as far as when we would sit down and record. But hopefully all falls in place, and we have a third man on the microphone for those live watches.
Yeah, that would be great. I know a few people have expressed it, so if you guys want to be on there, want to be on IcoPod for a live watch, or maybe discuss a pay-per-view, whichever, you can get a hold of us. You can either go to the Facebook page and get a hold of us there, or you can send the email to icopodcast@gmail.com, and we'll set something up. Just make sure that you have Google Hangouts that is compatible with a computer or a browser or whichever. We'll continue on from there. But that is roughly the idea here for the next 5 times we sit down.
Yeah, and you know what, too, just as kind of a side note here, hopefully this episode, A, actually works and, uploads as normal. And B, hopefully we don't get too much skipping around. I know there was some weird spots for me where I couldn't hear what Bob was saying. So hopefully that was just maybe for me and not you guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for too. And it happened with you a couple of times, but it was like 2 or 3 seconds. So even if it does happen, I don't think it's damaging too much of what was being said or anything. But I think it's mostly just me not being able to hear you. And I would think it's still picking up what you're saying.
Right. I mean, I hope so. And bear with us, guys, because still we're kind of working out some kinks here. If we can find a better way to do it, we'll pursue that. But as of right now, this is probably our easiest and best bet. I don't know. We'll see. I'll definitely be listening back to this episode's audio pretty closely and kind of, seeing how it sounded. But hopefully. And if not, we'll do our due diligence.
We'll just fucking quit.
No, I'm not taking no for an answer.
Oh, all right. Maybe I'll just travel to Florida every week.
I mean, that's really the proper thing that should be happening. If you would just suck it up, like whatever, Bob, you can do it. Of course you're not though, because you're not that dedicated. You're dedicated, but you're not that dedicated.
And also, I don't have that type of money, so.
No, we make millions off of this.
Oh yeah, right. Because we're stealing people's bank routing numbers for like donations or whatever that we did, like episode 2 or 3. That's right.
So we're good. Right. We're good there.
Just giving them off one by one.
We just don't want to be wasteful. So that is what it is. But yes, again, if it's a little choppy, bear with us, folks. We're actively looking to change and adapt to the situation that I've put us in. So,
and if you're real fans, it shouldn't bother you anyway.
Yeah, and if you,
I'm pissed if you're going to be mad about it.
Yeah, and if you complain, like fuck off. We don't need you.
Yeah, we have like 35 million other people listening, so you buy.
Right. Yeah, just get out now while you can.
Yeah, and like when we're saying that, my eyes will be telling you, stay. Like don't go.
Right.
But my mouth will be like, fucking leave, but like don't do it. Like when I'm quiet, I'm like, please don't go.
Fucking get out, don't leave.
Fight for me. Fight for me. Tell me you love me.
Yeah. And you know what, too?
Tell me you love me, I'll stay.
I love you, Bob.
I knew it. You're a whore.
And you know what, too, guys? Even if, hey, you know of a better method that's easier, that might not even be over Google Hangouts, let us know. Help us out. Help brothers out. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt. I mean, I enjoy doing this just for the hell of it anyway. And I hope you guys all listening to it enjoy it as well. Maybe you're learning something new. Hopefully we make you laugh. And maybe moving forward, we'll make you cry. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. Maybe I'll start crying. I probably will.
Yeah, me too. Depending on the quality of this, I might cry.
Well, by the time we get to 95, we both might be crying the entire time. So who knows? If you don't have anything else, Austin, probably at this point in time, and I think maybe for the next forever episodes until the demise of the Lex Express, I'm not going to have Lex Luger's theme song playing. No. I'm going to try, and maybe it won't come to fruition, but I want to have the "You Are My Hero" song playing.
What?
And if you know what do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I do.
You are my hero. Whoa. Yeah. So I think it's only fair that potentially I'm going to have this be playing, having that song play for every episode up till about WrestleMania 10.
What are you, fucking nuts?
I love this song. Now I feel like when there's a debuting wrestler or a tag team, maybe I'll put it in there just to spice it up. But considering we're at the Lex Express era, it seems only fitting to end each show with "You Are My Hero." After all, Vince McMahon said Lex Luger is a fucking American hero, so you gotta pay respect to your American heroes. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, if you want people to come back and listen, you're probably wrong.
Well, I'm gonna risk it. So hopefully at about this point, this is a cue to Bob when you're editing, right about now. That is probably what's going to be playing. I'm Bob Conley Jr. And for my buddy, Austin Skinner, who's also a hero, this has been Michael.
You gotta hear it.
See that no man's son will